Let's look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
Jameson Williams, the 12th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, and the prospect that Brad Holmes gave up multiple top 75 picks in order to acquire, does not want to play for the Detroit Lions. Or at least that is what fans would have you believe if you were to look and watch what they are saying on Twitter about the Alabama prospect. Yes, recently, just mere days after the 2022 NFL Draft has concluded and before this player has even signed his first professional contract, fans are already beginning to question the motive and question the motivation of their 12th overall pick in wide receiver Jameson Williams. Now, this stems from a couple minor things in interviews and press conferences so far that are having Lions fans concerned. So today, we are going to take a deep dive into this problem. We are going to take a look at why Lions fans are beginning to become concerned and talk about whether this is something that should be concerning or whether it is something that is being completely blown out of proportion. So, with that being said, let's get right on into talking about whether or not the Detroit Lions fandom and the Detroit Lions themselves should be worried about Jameson Williams wanting to play, I should say, for the Detroit Lions. Now, this all stems from their interviews. This all stems from the pictures that he and Aiden Hutchinson took after night one of the NFL Draft, where Jameson Williams was not smiling in every single picture. Yes, this is how deep we are going. Jameson Williams did not smile in some of the post-draft pictures, and that leads fans to believe that he doesn't want to play in Detroit. That is the level of fear that Lions fans have. That just because a player is not smiling in a picture where they are forced to stand in front of the media and take pictures and be subject to questions, that means he does not want to play football on the field for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. Now, to me, I think this is completely blown out of proportion. I think that, the fact that he didn't smile when he was taking pictures, the fact that he didn't seem overly enthusiastic, right, jumping up and down with tons of energy during his interview and during his press conference, that does not concern me because that doesn't mean he doesn't want to play. Right, Jameson Williams is a great wide receiver. He's arguably the most explosive wide receiver in this NFL draft class. And yes, he has the injury concerns, but he is working really hard to get back on the field, and we're going to touch on that later. But Jameson Williams is a player that transferred from Ohio State to Alabama, wanted to go very highly in the NFL draft. That means not going to the greatest team. That means maybe not having the greatest quarterback situation. And just because in the pre-draft conferences and at the combine, he said that, him and Patrick Mahomes would be a great duo. Him and, this quarterback and him and that quarterback would be really good together. And none of those quarterbacks happen to be Jared Goff. That doesn't mean he doesn't want to play in Detroit. That means he was fantasizing about playing with some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And that arguably was not even a realistic possibility, right? Some fans are going to point to that and say, he didn't want to play in Detroit. Well, neither did Calvin Johnson, but Calvin Johnson still gave it his all for 10 years in the Motor City and ended up as a top 3 wide receiver of all time. Jameson Williams is going to be just fine with the Detroit Lions, right? Jameson Williams' attitude, the way he has acted towards the Detroit Lions organization has been nothing but positive. The things he has said has been nothing but positive, and the actions that he has shown and the things that he has said and his goals that he has set have shown nothing but positivity towards the organization in Detroit. The first piece of evidence we have, the night that he was drafted, he practically jumped out of his seat and ran to the podium the moment he was drafted. And some people point to this and say, okay, yeah, but look at his face. He looks really mad. He looks super disappointed. To that I say, he was the 4th wide receiver taken, and the 2 teammates that forced him to transfer away from Ohio State were drafted picks 10 and 11 before he was selected at number 12. It could be very possible Jameson Williams felt like he was disrespected and that he was not the 4th best wide receiver in this class, that he was not a worse wide receiver than Chris Olave, that he was not a worse wide receiver than Garrett Wilson, and that he was even a better wide receiver than Drake London from USC. When fans point to the fact that, oh, he wasn't super happy, he wasn't smiling on draft night, it could be because he felt like he should not have been the 4th wide receiver selected, and it could have been because he was frustrated that, again, the 2 teammates that forced him to transfer from Ohio State to Alabama just in order to get on their level of draft stock and draft status both went before him, even though he clearly proved that he was the better wide receiver a season ago when he did transfer to Alabama. Right after he was done on the draft stage, he went right down, beeline straight for the Detroit Lions inner circle of fans and went and celebrated with them. Put him on his Instagram, put them on, his social medias, right? He took pictures with them, he talked with them, he shook hands with them, he, celebrated with these fans. That does not sound like a player that doesn't want to play for the Detroit Lions. That sounds like somebody that is ready to get to work, somebody that is ready to embrace the culture, somebody that is ready to embrace the fans, embrace the team, and somebody that is just ready to start their NFL career. But I will give you that Jameson Williams didn't look super happy in photos. I will give you that Jameson Williams didn't sound super overly energetic like Dan Campbell in his press conferences. But to that, I also have a pretty sound reason. It could be a very, very true fact that Jameson Williams isn't a media guy. It's very possible that the 12th overall pick simply doesn't want to be answering questions from the media and answering questions from the media and taking pictures for photographers. It's very clear, or very possible even, that Jameson Williams might just have other things that he wants to be doing. It might be the fact that Jameson Williams would rather be rehabbing than answering questions from the media. It could be that Jameson Williams would rather be practicing and getting to know his teammates and building chemistry with his quarterbacks than answering questions from the media. It could be the fact that maybe Jameson Williams just isn't a media guy. Maybe he's just not a flashy, in-your-face wide receiver that needs his picture taken and needs his voice heard 24/7 like some of the other wide receivers throughout the NFL, right? Just because Jameson Williams doesn't seem super excited to take pictures and doesn't seem super excited to be going through interviews and being questioned by the media doesn't mean that he doesn't want to be a Detroit Lion, right? And you can see that in his actions, right? The things that he says during these press conferences, saying that he wants to be available for training camp, that is his goal to rehab and be better by training camp than he was at Alabama. His doctor, his surgeon has been quoted saying that his goal is to play week 1 for the Detroit Lions of the preseason. That does not sound like the goals of somebody that doesn't want to play. If Jameson Williams doesn't take a snap this preseason, I don't think anybody's going to question it, because I don't think anybody was expecting him to play a snap in the preseason this year, right? And if it was going to be very, very limited time because his injury isn't fully healed and isn't fully recovered from yet. But Jameson Williams has a goal of playing in the week 1 of the preseason. He has a goal of catching passes from Jared Goff against whatever team the Detroit Lions end up playing week 1 of the preseason. And he wants to get better. He wants to be at 100%, and he wants to be in tip-top shape for week 1 of the preseason. His doctor said he's working really hard and that he looks like $1 million and that he expects Jameson Williams to make a full recovery sooner than even expected after the surgery. He was running routes just a few weeks after the surgery. He was running 40s a few weeks after the surgery. This isn't a player, and this doesn't sound like somebody who doesn't want to play for the Detroit Lions. It is very possible that Jameson Williams is just somebody that doesn't like to talk to the media. It's very possible that he's been doing it for 3 to 4 years at this point at Ohio State, that especially last year at Alabama, he got all the flashy press, he got all the highlights, he got all the media questions, and then the spotlight kind of faded. Right? It's just something that maybe he doesn't enjoy doing. Maybe it's possible that Jameson Williams would rather be rehabbing, that Jameson Williams would rather be, playing on the field, right? Rehabbing, playing on the field, running routes, developing chemistry with his quarterback, working on his hands, lifting in the weight room with his new teammates, getting to know his new coaches and teammates, getting to know his positional coach, watching film. There are so many things that go into an NFL offseason that Jameson Williams may just want to do those things instead of taking questions from the media and being questioned by fans about whether he's truly committed to the Detroit Lions. Jameson Williams is a top talent in this year's class. Jameson Williams is one of the most explosive, if not the most explosive weapons in the 2022 NFL Draft, and he is now a Detroit Lion. And I think the fact that Lions fans are questioning his motivation already is absolutely ridiculous. All you've heard this offseason from free agents is how good, how close this culture is, how much of a family this team feels like, right? DJ Chark can't stop talking about the family atmosphere, about the culture that the Detroit Lions are building, about how close the coaching staff and the players are, about how close the players are as teammates, right? It's a brotherhood, it's a family, it's a culture that players want to play for, and it's a culture that we are already seeing improving the Detroit Lions, right? DJ Chark would not have come here a season ago. Mike Hughes would not have come here to be a sixth string cornerback a season ago. Any of the players that Brad Holmes brought in this offseason likely would not have came here a season ago without being significantly overpaid, like we saw a couple years ago under Bob Quinn, trying to bring in even subpar free agents for absolutely elite contracts. The culture in Detroit is changing. And I can't imagine that Jameson Williams would go from being so excited on draft night to be a Detroit Lion that he had to go straight to the fans and celebrate with the fans, and he would, run to the draft stage essentially to put on that hat and take a picture with the commissioner just to get in Detroit, meet Dan Campbell, meet his teammates, and all of a sudden realize he doesn't want to be here, that he doesn't want to play football for Detroit. I think this scenario is absolutely ridiculous, and I wanted to jump on this and kind of, put it to rest before it actually took off and became a big thing. I know it's concerning to some Lions fans because even some of you have been questioning, even some of you in the comments have been saying you aren't impressed with the way that he's approached interviews so far and some of the ways that he's looked in pictures. But to that, I say just calm down, take a step back. This happens every single year with at least one rookie in the NFL draft. Last year it was Justin Fields, and Justin Fields is one of the most committed players in the NFL right now for the Chicago Bears. A few years ago, every single year it seems like there's a player that just doesn't smile, that doesn't seem interested, and then he turns out to be one of the most dedicated players on the team, and it turns out he just wanted to play football. And I think that is the case with Jameson Williams. So with all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about Jameson Williams. Do you really question whether he's committed to the Detroit Lions or not? Do you really question whether he wants to be here and play for the Lions? I'd be very curious what you guys think. But with all of that being said, that is all for you guys today. Thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.